Today I'm going to be teaching you about thick paint petal paintings. This is a style of painting I do called a petal path painting. Hi there, my name's Jennifer Grace. I'm from Grit and Grace Art, for those of you that don't know me yet, and I am a thick paint petal artist. So we're going to start today by painting the canvas. It already had a black gesso on it, but I wanted to make sure to paint it black as well. Then you're going to get out your modeling paste or molding paste. This one is Molding Paste by Golden. It's one of my favorite pastes to use for thick paint petals as it holds its shape very well. You can see there just how thick it is. It also dries a little bit of a satin finish as compared to most modeling pastes that dry completely matte. Here I am mixing in some black to get a nice black modeling paste, as the painting we're going to be doing today is black on black. I've gone ahead and put lines on the canvas using T-square. Unfortunately, I didn't film that part, but just map out exactly how thick your petals are, how much space you'd like in between, and then use that to measure it all out and then mark it with a ruler or a T-square so you'll have straight lines. This really helps you not go off course as the painting goes on. It is very easy to start getting your petals sort of off track. So here I am starting to lay down the petals on the painting. First, you're going to start by grabbing the molding paste on the back of the palette knife there. And you can watch how I do it. You pull it towards you and then I scrape off both sides to make sure there isn't any excess. Sometimes I also use my fingers as well to make sure I get that perfect point on the petal. I like to have a nice sharp point. It does actually dry quite sharp. Once I get that done, I go and I lay the petal down right in the middle of the line. You want to make sure that you're using a decent amount of pressure, but not too much pressure. You want it to squirt sort of out both sides equally, and then you pull back, keeping the pressure down. In other petal painting formats, you often pull up at the end. In this style, you do not. So you keep that knife sort of straight out until it's pulled all the way. Hopefully, going in real time there was enough to show you. This is sped up just a little bit to 2 times. As you can see, I'm just repeating the exact same process, laying the petals down one by one as I go. You want to make sure that you are keeping the spacing between the petals about the same, so you're not pressing down too hard on the palette knife, which would make one petal bigger than all the rest. It would be sort of flatter and wider. You can see the first few lines coming together. And you also want to make sure that you are putting the petal down the exact same amount below each one. Now, I did not mix up enough modeling paste at the beginning, so here I'm just getting more modeling paste. I'm now using the amount that I've already used and sort of timesing that by 2 more sections to make sure I have enough paste. You want to make sure you have enough paste because if you do run out, it is harder to mix the exact same color, doing a perfect color match, than it is if you just have a little bit of leftover paint, which you can even add in with another color to mix them together. After mixing, it is really important to clean off your palette. Golden paste does dry a little bit faster than other brands like Liquitex, so you want to make sure that you get your palette completely cleaned off and you don't leave any residue behind, because that residue will dry and turn into little bits, which will then get stuck in your petals and leave a lump when it dries. It's not the end of the world because it can be sanded afterward, but it's just something you don't want to deal with if you don't have to. So once that's all mixed up, we're going back to laying down the petals. And I just wanted to point out there that it was Golden black paint, black acrylic paint that I'm using, but you could use a different brand. You could use Liquitex heavy body paint or Winsor & Newton, whatever you like, whatever you have. As long as it's acrylic based, it will all mix together fine. As you can see, I'm trying to do the exact same thing that I was earlier, which is spacing the petals out properly, leaving the same amount of space in between each one, having the petals be all approximately the same size, and keeping those lines straight and making sure those petals are centered in the middle of those lines. Once we come to the last line here, this is where you really see exactly how straight you managed to keep them, because often this is where you'll really have a bit of an angle and have it catch up with you. Thank goodness I didn't with this painting, and it all looks perfect. So I'm getting a full petal at the bottom here for each one. Just have a couple more petals to do, and then after that, you are done. With this bottom row, you want to make sure that you don't have any sort of tails sticking out the end of the petal, and that the bottom is nice and flat, and that it doesn't go over the back end of the canvas. In case you want to frame it, you want to make sure that that is nice and flat and straight. Once you lay the last one done, you can go ahead and pack up any excess you have in a little tub, and that'll stay fresh for a surprisingly long time, maybe even a couple of months. I got these tubs off of Amazon, and I will make sure to put the link in the description for you. Now you have a beautiful petal path painting, and it just needs some time to dry. Look at how thick that paste is. It is so luscious. And I love the black on black. It is just so chic. Here it is dried. You can see outside it is quite matte, the petal once it dries, but it does have just the teensiest little bit of sheen. And you can see how the shadows really impact the paintings. That's what I love about thick petal paintings. The way the shadows play off it creates a real movement to the painting that I just think is so beautiful. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more and drop any questions in the comments.